Hi, welcome to this video. Thank you so much for clicking. I'm wearing the same sweater in like 4 videos because I'm pre-filming a bunch for when I go away on vacation soon and I can just edit all these videos while I'm away. And I thought it was time to kind of give an update on my business and let you guys know how my business has changed from the very beginning to now. Not only has my work changed, I'll show you some side-by-sides here of my work in the beginning. This should give you some confidence that you can get better with time because look at where I started. I was not good when I first started doing resin art. That's just facts. It's okay. And there's nothing wrong with that because being a beginner, at least it means you're trying. So I thought I would go through and tell you the ways that my business has changed and the things I've learned, stuff like that. If you end up liking this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you're new, you can join this small business / resin community. I have the nicest group of people supporting me, and you can also follow my art Instagram because I post way more on there. Let's get into this. First way my business has changed, and in my opinion the most important way, is that I made my business a lot more eco-friendly. The keyword is more eco-friendly. I am aware that resin is not the best thing for the environment. I myself have been vegan. Well, I was vegetarian for 10 years and I've been vegan for 6. I don't know. I haven't eaten meat since I was 8, now I'm 24, whatever the math is on that. And I do that for ethical reasons, for animals and as well as the environment. So I am someone that cares about the environment. But I do understand that the art form I do, not the absolute greatest. So to combat that is I try to make everything else I do as eco-friendly as possible. My packaging, the way I'm creating my resin, and if I have items that I don't want anymore, old item that I know I'm not going to sell, I either give it away for free or I give it away at a discounted price. On my shop now I have a bunch of discounted items. I'll show you an example because I have one right here. This tray I made, I absolutely love it. But this crystal here sticks out slightly on the back. You can hardly even tell, but it does make it a little bit uneven when it's on a flat surface. So I just put this on my shop saying discounted item. In the description I said why it's discounted, and that way this whole thing doesn't just go in the garbage. Some people may not think it's a big deal because it's a very small flaw. It's pretty flat when it's on a surface. It's also a way that I try to still sell my items, but that way they don't just end up in the landfill. Eco-friendly packaging is so important to me. Every single thing I use is eco-friendly in some way. I use compostable mailers, recycled bubble wrap. Sure, all of my business cards are printed on paper, not that like shiny plastic material. Mix all my resin with silicone stir sticks, silicone bowls. So I work on a silicone mat. Unless I'm doing like a really heavy pour where things are going to be dripping and the mat's going to take forever to clean, I might use a garbage bag. These bags are also reusable because resin doesn't stick to it. So you just pull the resin off of the garbage bag and reuse that as well. Trying my best to make up for how resin might not be the best with better packaging. Another thing that I have started doing is donating each month's profit. I do 10% of each month's profit to different charities, all different charities, but sometimes I like to choose ones that do to do with the environment because I feel like I'm trying my best to make a difference in a charity that helps the environment and use eco-friendly materials, just to do the art form that I love doing so much in the best way I possibly can. Color coding my flowers. This has helped a lot because if I have a project with certain flowers in mind, they're very easy to find. It helps everything to be just way more accessible while I'm working. Also helps me to know what I have in stock, what colors I need more of, and it's just a way better way of organizing than having all the flowers in a big bin like I used to. This one is kind of embarrassing to admit, but I'm not too embarrassed about it because I was a beginner and that's okay. But I did used to ship all of my keychains in like paper envelopes, which is fine because it worked and everything got to its location safely. But I have now switched to, well, I did use plastic bubble mailers, which I still have a bunch of in my art room, so I might use them until they run out and then obviously use my compostable mailers. I kind of use both depending on the item. So I used to send all of my orders in an envelope and it's great, but I think as you start to establish your business, you know, packaging becomes a part of your business that you care about. One of my keychain videos has, I think, almost 500,000 views now, and I used the envelope method in that video, and I'm like, everybody probably thinks that's what I do now because that's, I think, one of the first videos people usually see of me on the internet, so Oh well, that's okay. Hopefully they see it was from a while ago. Keeping track of my revenue is another thing that I've implemented, and I originally wanted to have this awesome system for it, like a spreadsheet, but honestly I always have my phone or my laptop near me, and the one common thing that they share is the Notes app. So I just have a table that I've put like their name, what they bought, the price of the item, and then I also have one for cost of materials, and I'm just like keeping track of that stuff more. I used to handwrite everything, including orders I was getting, because I didn't have a shop and I didn't know how I would do custom keychains on a shop until I figured it out through Etsy. But yeah, I used to handwrite everything, so now everything's done on my computer. Another huge thing, if you have been with me since the start, you will know this was a struggle for me. I've now started pre-drilling for my eye pins, like keychains or whatever I'm working on at the time. Heat the top and put it in by hand. It would hurt my fingers so bad, and a ton of the keychains from that beginning era ended up cracking. So I figured it out. I had tons of like trial and error with this, because then I thought maybe I'll do jump rings instead of eye pins, and those kind of opened and it didn't really work either. So that was a lot of trial and error, and that's a big difference about my business just in like an art sense from the beginning to now. And for whatever reason, if the eye pin is disagreeing with me, I just add super glue onto the bottom of it and screw it in, and then it's going to stay no matter what, pretty much, because super glue is very reliable. So we do a lot of trial and error to figure out, but I'm glad that I did. Thank you notes and business cards. I don't know why I made this so hard on myself, but I used to handwrite all my thank you notes, which I still do, but I would cut out the paper and then glue it onto cardstock, like scrapbook paper, and then cut that out, and it just took a very long time. But I always have been keen on doing thank you notes because I think they're really personal, and I want people to know that I appreciate them supporting me more than anything, because I wouldn't be where I am right now without every single order that I get. When you're first starting out, you don't have a huge budget to go and buy all these things. So of course, over time, as my business developed, I obviously invested more money into buying stuff like this. So now I have personalized Meg Dion art cards that I make on, what is it, Vistaprint, whiteboard, and corkboard. It helps me to stay organized because I can write down exactly what I need to do that day, and sometimes if I have a lot of projects on the go, I get really overwhelmed and then I just don't want to do resin at all. So I like to break everything down into what I'm doing, if I have custom orders, if I have ideas I'm trying out, and yeah, just having them all kind of visually on a whiteboard helps me a ton. I've now organized my products as well, so if I sell a necklace, I know exactly what drawer to go find that in. Organizing everything that's for sale, but everything that is up on the store I can easily go and grab. It also allows me to know what I need to put on the store, because I just finished filming this video where I go through the art room and find all the stuff that I had lying around that wasn't on the store, and I realized that like almost half of the stuff I had in my art room wasn't for sale, because I was like, why isn't this selling or this selling? And I'm like, it's not on the shop. That makes sense why it can't sell. It's not for sale. Organizing everything that's been completed has helped a ton. Organizing my molds into different drawers. Oh my gosh. This also helps me to get inspired because I can see exactly where everything is. I have everything labeled, have an idea, and I want to find this mold. I used to just have all of my molds in a big laundry bin, and it was just not really working for me. Better to-do lists and planning as well, because I find when you look at a to-do list, it can be overwhelming for me personally. So I like to put things in the order I'm going to do it. Saying that into my day and saying, okay, I'm going to upload items to my shop and then do the actual pour and then edit videos at night. So actually putting things in the order I'm going to do them helps a lot. And I do that with like my whole life. That's the best part about having a small business. Well, it's kind of the best and the worst. The best part is you can do what you want to do. The worst part is it's usually the trial and error that gets you there. So it's once things have gone wrong that I realized they need to change. For me, I was noticing that I wasn't shipping out orders fast enough. Now I'm like, okay, I need to make sure I carve out time for that. Before I even pour resin that day, I will package orders. Another thing that's helped me, especially with resin, is I have bins for different things. So completed items, they have their spot, but I also have a bin for items that are kind of in the middle of the process. So maybe it needs to be drilled. Maybe I need to paint something onto it. So things that are kind of in that in-between stage where it's come out of the mold or it's done, like a tray, for example, the colors are poured on, but I need to paint the tray. So I have a section where these are my in-between items. They still need to be worked on. Shipping things out faster, as I admitted before, I was really bad for that, and I don't know why. I think I've realized that it was a form of self-sabotage because I'm realizing how many things in my life were self-sabotaging without realizing it. So I think somehow this part of my brain that wanted me to fail would make me not do it. Even though I wanted to, and even though I want people to get their orders quickly, something about me was making that not happen. I know if I don't do it right away, it'll procrastinate and it'll sit in the back of my brain and drive me nuts, but then my brain makes me unmotivated to do it. It's a very weird phenomenon that I'm still trying to figure out. Getting better with shipping is something that's changed a lot from the beginning of my business. Not caring what others think. I get comments and stuff like that on all my different social media platforms saying your stuff is overpriced, this resin isn't good, but now it just doesn't bother me. I've done videos breaking down the prices and I know how much I need to sell things for in order to make a decent profit for my materials and my time, and even if you still think that that's overpriced, then that's a you problem and that's fine. That's why you're not running my business, I'm running my business. So kind of just standing my ground now that I've had more experience with my business and not letting people's opinions affect me so much. I would want to respond and explain myself, but I also know that people that are commenting about that, maybe they have struggles with money, maybe something about my prices are triggering them and then they're projecting that onto me. So instead of getting angry, I just kind of feel sympathy. I'm like, okay, there must be something that's causing them to do this. There's a problem that they have within themselves that is projecting onto me, and I have to be sympathetic towards that. When you've been doing something for longer, you do gain that confidence. So yeah, I just don't really care what people think. I'm really happy running my business and I get lots of supportive customers, so it's okay if there are people who don't want to support me. I experiment with a lot of new ideas. That's something really cool. I think I just kind of know resin better now that I know what's gonna work and what's not and how to do things, because I would see all these cool items and I'd have no idea how to do it. Now if I see like a certain resin painting I like, I'm like, oh yeah, this is probably the technique they use. It's probably done in 2 pours. I understand the medium and the resin itself a lot better. So it made me more experimental, which is really fun, and I'm doing so many cool projects right now. I cannot wait to share them. Trusting myself, taking more risks, doing things that inspire me. Okay, those are the ways my business has changed since the beginning. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Like I said, if you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. I do tons of small business and resin related content. Would love to have you here. Hope to see you in my next video. Bye!